Hello, guys, and welcome once again to Savannah Essence. My name is Lamisi. If you are new to this channel, you are welcome. Today, we are going to be talking all about body butters. I have had a lot of questions on a few body butter videos that I have posted on this platform, and I've realized I've not really spoken a lot about it. And I just decided that today, let's rather just do a beginner level body butter. Let's start from the basics, and then we learn all the way up, and let's work around with some few recipes, some few formulas that we can all work around with. And at the end of this series, I'm hoping that this will be 2 to 3 to 4 video series explaining the whole dimension of body butters. And at the end of the series, you should be able to formulate your own body butters, perhaps sell them or just share it with friends and families. Okay, so let's go. So what is a body butter? Let me just show you a number of body butters that I have personally made over time. Some we sell, some are for personal use. So in case they like, why is she talking about body butter? What has she done herself? Let me just show you a couple of body butters that I make. All of these, we sell them. They come in different colors, different forms, all naturally colored. But and so this is basically what body butters are. So body butters are, we call them anhydrous butters. It means that they are just a mixture of oils and butters. Nothing more, just a mixture of oils and butters. Sometimes we add some additives just to sort of prolong its life or give it scent, some sensory feel. But apart from that, a body butter is simply a mixture of oils and butters. And then sometimes, we whip it with some mixtures just to give it a fluffy and a very nice texture, like so. So sometimes you don't just want it to be like a simple butter, so you whip it to give it something soft and fluffy, a nicer and a simple consistency. And so that's basically what a body butter is. The composition of a body butter basically is you have hard butters being the majority of your body butter, then you have liquid oils. By hard butters, I mean something as hard or solid as cocoa butter or cocoa butter or mango butter or shea butter. So butters or oils that are solid under room temperature form a major part of your body butters, followed by liquid oils. Liquid oils, I'm talking about your olive oils, your sweet almond oils, your sesame oils, your baobab oils. Those also, come up. So the mixture of these two, depending on the proportions, and then they now make up your body butter. Sometimes we add, like I said earlier on, we add fragrance or essential oils just to give it a sensory feel, to make it smell good when we are using it. And also we add vitamin E to it to prolong the shelf life of it, to minimize oxidation. Oils and butters naturally, because they are naturally occurring, they react with ultraviolet rays in the atmosphere, and sometimes they can have a shelf life of 2 years, but because they react with environmental factors, they sort of start to go rancid or spoil a bit faster. So you add vitamin E to it to sort of maintain its shelf life, or maybe give it a longer shelf life, so to sort of like slow down the process of oxidation. And that's something sometimes we add. And then sometimes we add something like arrowroot powder, corn flour, or those kinds of other powders, just to ensure that, because it's just a mixture of oils and butters, it can become greasy on the skin. So you want to see if you can reduce the amount of greasiness that come from the body butter. And sometimes we add arrowroot powder and all those things to add to it. And so basically, when we are talking about a simple body butter composition, we are talking about your solid butters, your oils, and then the optional ones are your vitamin E's, your fragrances, and then your powders that are supposed to help minimize the amount of greasiness. Now let's when we talk about body butters, they are simple. Usually, I talk about a simple formula that we all can start from, and then we can adjust it as we go ahead or we go along in the formulation journey. So, a simple body butter recipe, you have 70% butters. When I talk about 70% butters, and I'll try and list the butters either here or here, I don't know where, but 70% butter. So that means that the whole composition, if you have a body butter like this, a major part of it, which is 70% of it, is made of butters. Butters such as shea butter, cocoa butter, mango butter, murumuru butter, etc., etc. All those solid coconuts, I don't consider coconut as a butter based on where I come from. So, based on all these solid butters, they will make up 70% of your recipe. Now, I've done a simple video on how to recalculate your recipe, and so I'll link that up somewhere. And that also is another way to be able to recalculate if you don't know how to convert a percentage to a weight to a weight to a percentage, etc., etc. I'll link that up here somewhere. And so 70% solid butters, then 30% oils. So if you do not know how to make any body butter at all, don't worry. When you are formulating, let's start with this basic recipe. 70% butters and then 30% oils. Keep that at the back of your mind. Simple body butter recipe, 70% butters, 30% oils. Now you can tweak your body butter. This recipe is not really a standard recipe. It's just something that you can start playing around with. You can tweak your body butter based on the texture that you want. If you want your body butter to be a bit harder, that is after you have used your 70% butter, your 30% oils, and you have whipped this your body butter, and you feel that it's a bit too hard for you, like let's take this as an example, this body butter. If this consistency is a bit too hard for you, you wanted something fluffy, something light, something very, very runny, then what you do is that you reduce the amount of your solid butter. So you reduce the amount of your shea butter, your cocoa butter, your cocoa butter, or bango butter, or any hard butter that you use in formulating this body butter, and then increase the amount of oil. So if you added, let's say for this, you added some sweet almond oil, some olive oil, or any other liquid oil that you use. If you want your body butter to be a bit softer, a bit, fluid, a bit, not too hard, not too as hard as this butter, then you want to increase the amount of oils, and then you want to, reduce the amount of butters. Or if you want it to be a bit harder, like I was talking about earlier, if you want it to be a bit harder, or yeah, a bit more harder, a bit more solid, then you want to reduce the amount of your liquid oil. So in this case, your liquid oil is 30%. You want to reduce it to maybe like say 20% or 25%, and then you want to increase the amount of your butters to maybe 70% to 80%. And that is how you can recalculate. So when you have a basic platform, a basic place where you are starting from, like your 70% butters, your 30% oils, then you can start tweaking it based on your preferences, how you want your butters to feel, how you want them to feel on your skin, etc., etc. So basically, that is how we, formulate a body butter, or the recipe, that how we come up with recipes, and then we can adjust it as we go about. So let's use that basic 70% butter to 30% oils, and let's formulate a simple body butter. Now, for this body butter, we are going to be using shea butter, cocoa butter. We are also going, those are the two solid butters that we are going to be using for this recipe. And we are going to be using 70%. So these two will compose our solid butters, and they will compose 70% of our recipe. And then we will also be using some liquid oils. Like I said, coconut oil is a liquid oil based on where I come from. Ghana, the temperatures are relatively very hot. So coconut oil is a liquid oil all year round. And so it is not a butter for us here, unless the weather becomes extremely cold, and that is always in rare years. But most often, our coconut oil is a liquid. If your coconut oil is a butter in your place, or is always solid in your place, you would want to consider it as a butter more than a liquid. But I just wanted to use simple oils for this. So we're also going to be using coconut oil as our liquid oil, and then also using sesame oil as our liquid oil. So we have two butters, two oils. Those are the two variations. So 70% solid, 30% oils. For the 70% solid, we want to break it down. So our shea butter will compose a measure of the butter. So we'll be using 55% of shea butter, and then we'll be using 15% of cocoa butter. That makes up 70%. So the shea butter together with the cocoa butter is now all well melted. And what we want to do is to now add in our liquid oils. And in this case, we're going to be adding in our sesame seed oil and also our coconut oil. So those are the two liquid oils as well that we are going to be using in this recipe. So this is our coconut oil. Again, we are using just 15% of it, and the same amount or quantity is what we are also using for the sesame seed oil as well. So we are pouring in into the heated oil or heated butters. At this point, all our oils are now thoroughly in a liquid form. All our oils is in a liquid form, and this is always really critical because you want to get a standardized oil base that you can now use to make your body butter. And to also make whipping easier, you want to transfer it into a bigger container so you don't really do a lot of messing around. Another thing we'd want to always do is to freeze our melted oils together. And when you freeze it, you always want it to get to a texture such as this. This way it's easy for you to whip. If you make it too hard, it's going to be very difficult. And when you make it too liquidy, for those of us in hotter climates, if you make it too liquidy, you will not be able to successfully whip it. If you're in a colder climate, that's fine. You can use either a kitchen whisk like this, or you can use a hand mixture. Because I have a hand mixture, I usually like to use that, and it's a bit faster. So you can whip it from any of the what are the settings from. You can usually start from the lowest to the highest. Because this is a relatively smaller batter, I'll start from the smallest acceleration, and then maybe if I need be, I'll increase it. So you mix it or you whip it from side to side, and then you put it off, mix it around thoroughly, make sure you get everything mixed in, and then you continue to whip it. Do not whip just one side and leave another side. At the core of it, these are still butters, and they can easily solidify and go back to their basic state. So you can whip this for 5 minutes, and you should be good enough for you to now put it in your container. So at this point, everything is thoroughly whipped, and I like the consistency, but I'm still going to do one last final whipping just to get it going. And you can see this is a more softer and a smoother consistency than just the way that you would have had it together if you had just melted your butters and your oils together and not have whipped it. And so this really gives you a good base to start with, and it also for marketability, and then look and appeal. This really is nice. So you just keep whipping it until you get to a consistency that you like. I like the consistency like this one is creamy and it's buttery like this. Then I think that I have reached my end goal, and I can now start piping this, or I can now start scooping this into whatever container that I need. If we were adding additives, this would have been a perfect time to do so, but this is going to be a simple body butter. We are not adding any other additives. We just want to get the basics right. Once we get the basics right, then once we start adding other things onto it, it should be easy for us to continue. So because this is a basic and a beginner video, I just want to stick to the basics. And so this is how to make a simple body butter. Simple: 2 butters, 2 oils, and you have this amazing body butter, and it's creamy and it's nice, and we can all make this, right? We can all make this, right? Okay, so I think it's time we can now put it in a vessel. So for body butters, usually I like to use a transparent container just to show the product to the buyer or whoever will be using it. So I will be using this transparent container. It is a 250 ml container. That's volume, or it can take 250 grams of product. And I am just scooping in my body butter, nice and simple. If you have a piping bag and you would want a pipe, this consistency or this texture or this formula is a good enough formula for you to begin with your piping. So this is how our simple body butter looks, and this is how it all comes together. So it fills in our 250 ml jar nicely. And you also remember that this is a 150 gram batch, so whipping it increases the volume of your body butter, and so you get a lot more of it if you whip it. So that's how it looks up close. Unfortunately, the lightening isn't really helping us, but it's a relatively very whitish butter, and the color is very beautiful, but it's just plain white. And that's how the texture is, a very soft texture, a bit hard, not too runny. And that's how it applies on my skin. If I take a bit of it and apply, you see, this is the reason why we like body butters. Already it takes your skin from basic to zhush, from basic to a beautiful skin. So that's how to make a simple body butter. Give it a try. A preservative in your body butter or not. So preservatives usually are added in products that contain water. Water is life. Okay, water is life. We all need water, and because water is life, water is a breeding ground for a lot of things, including microbes and bacteria and all those things. And so once you introduce water into any cosmetic substance, you would want to preserve it, because unfortunately, at this point, I lost the feed to my mic, and so, or my mic went off. So basically, I was saying that water is life, and any substance that contains water, especially if it's a cosmetic product and you have other items introduced into it, then you need to preserve it. If not, because water is life, it's a breeding ground for all bacteria, pathogens, and other unwanted substances you don't want on your skin. So if your body butter contains water, then you need to preserve it. If it does not contain water, you do not need to preserve it. So a major part of what we'll be learning here is the anhydrous body butter, and these are basically just a combination of oils and butters, and so we do not need to preserve it. We will also be talking about an emulsified body butter, and in that case, we will need a preservative. And so when we get to that particular part of this series, we will delve more into preservatives and what you can use and what you cannot use. And so for now, a preservative is one of those things that you do not want to. In case you are formulating for people that you think that they tend to put their body butters in a shower and might come into contact with water, and you think that you would want to preserve it just in case it comes in contact with water in the shower, and then you need to preserve it, or you don't want it to be introduced, bacteria or other pathogens to be introduced into it, then you can go ahead and add a preservative to it. But for now, it's optional. Another thing we want to talk about is who is a body butter for, especially for the anhydrous body butter. So it's excellent for all skin types, especially for people with dry skin. You would want to use a body butter with a lot of butters and oils to ensure that your skin stays moisturized, and also to ensure that it's able to lock in and seal in every single moisture that you've been able to introduce onto your skin. So people with dry skin, people with matured skin, this is excellent for you. So excellent for people with oily skin. Just ensure that you do not apply it on your face, but just for the rest of your on the skin and skin your rest of your to body. limit, A body butter should be you an
Mm.
excellent
Mm.
excellent
Mm.
choice
Mm.
for
Mm.
those with all of
Mm.
us.
Mm.
Skin. This is good for people with dry skin because you lose a lot of water and you always want to ensure that you do not lose water. So you want to sort of prevent what I call, or what we all call in the cosmetic field, transepidermal water loss. So basically, that is all about body butter. So you ask, how do I then add fragrance oils and other things to my body butters? So stick to the other videos that will be coming up in this series, and we'll talk a lot more about this. If you have any questions about body butters, you can leave it in the comment section for this particular video, and then we'll discuss it in the other videos that will be going into more details about body butters, how to tweak, how to formulate, how to add colorants, and all those good stuff. If this video has been helpful and good to you, I'd appreciate it if you say that in the comment section. Give a thumbs up to this video and subscribe to this channel if you haven't still done so. I really appreciate it that you come here all the time and support us. We give you thanks and we say God bless you. So see you in the next video. Okay, bye bye.